15 years of coaching, I've seen every single swing fault there is out there. I see it on the range every single day. But the one biggest one that I see is the contact issue. And a lot of times it's a really simple fix. If you've been playing for a long time, it might not be the simplest fix, but it's the one when we start to take away the club with the hands. Like if your first motion is this, and we're going like this, we're just taking this club away with the hands. Now when I start to rotate, see the hands will start to get flat, it starts to get in behind me. Basically you're getting stuck. And I tell people that all the time and they're like, oh, but I see the pros do it. You may see some of them do this, and then like McElroy always spray a macro, but if you ever watch the logos on his shirt, you can see they start to turn with the club, so he's really using the ground to do it. And you'll see some that do it, but when they actually swing, you'll start to see it way more synced up. So if you kind of think of it this way, I could, if I just move the object with my hand, this golf club, and that's starting to swing with my hand, it doesn't move very efficiently, it doesn't move very far. But now if I start to step side to side like that, I can start to move this object pretty easily. You know, I start to step more aggressively, this club head moves more, it moves with more speed, more rhythm to it. So if you start to think of that, that's me using the ground force. So I'm starting to use the ground force. Now I have a bad golf grip. It's just sitting in my fingers, well, at least a light one. So if I start with my hands, see, it doesn't really move all that much. I got to use a lot of hand strength to try to do very little work. Now, if I do the opposite, now if I'm like skating or I start stepping side to side, I can move this object pretty easy. Now, how do I hit the ball? So now if I start to add, I push in the ground. See, I start to add a little rotation. Now I got pretty much a golf swing of a club that works around me. And then kind of if I just step side to side, you'll see it starts to plane itself. Not only that, if I start to push my feet out in front of the club, like skating, it actually starts to work up. If I was to stop, I have a pretty decent looking backswing right there. Not that looks or everything, but you can see the arms are starting to elevate. And so if you think of it like this, so think of the ground or the pushing, or I like to say your feet get heavy, meaning my feet get heavy. That's how I like you to think about it. So my foot gets heavy first, meaning it's pushing down. See, that moves the club. Now if my lead foot pushes down, it moves the club back. So if I start making them get heavy pushing the ground, I don't use my arms. It starts to swing. I push harder, heavier and heavier. The club starts to move faster. So this is what I like to teach for the basis of getting people to start to use ground force or using the whole body to get the club to move. Because where we get that pitfall is so many people just get told, I got to rotate. So what happens, they rotate, this club works behind them, they either work it out over the top, they tiger or lay it, they move into the ball, we get all kinds of horrible shots. And then how do we get this into a golf swing? So the first thing I like to do is, so I'm a righty, my left heel, I lift my left heel up, right heel up, and then I start moving them faster. So now the heaviness, like this heel, this pushes down, club moves, this one pushes down, club moves. So the pressure or the pushing in the ground is always ahead of the club. So then we can actually hit shots like that. So I could feel left heel, right heel. You can see I get the ground pretty easily. Oh, I do have a ball on me. So same thing, if I lift my left heel, right heel, it's very easy to catch that ball. And then as you're working through it, say you hit that, you're working, you're getting really good at catching every time, I might just lift my left heel, leave the right one down, left heel, put it back down in the ground. Lift my left heel, put it back down on the ground. And I like to do it without the ball. So you start to hear it skidding through the grass and down. So I want to think the whole swing starts by the left heel goes up. See, the club starts to move, left heel goes up, I put it back down before the club changes direction, or I like to think of it this way, put it back down to make the club change directions. So now I'm starting to get the ground, using the ground for leverage is starting to help me. I'm using all the different good things the ground can do when you push into it. And then we get into the golf swing, some people just choose to actually lift their heel, put it back down, play like that, or the other one is you get set up here. But I'm going to use this leg to kind of push me. So I use that leg to kind of push me, and I push it back into the ground, so it pushes me this way. I push back into the ground and go. And then I have shorter clubs. I want to push into the ground, like with this leg, so it pushes me here. This one's always trying to push me back this way, so this one won't let me. This is when I get, say, 9-iron or shorter. Trail legs is always pushing me forward, but I'm always going to try to start. I'm always going to try to start with this leg, and that's the one I like the best. When you start to hit shots, start with the heel. So it's going to feel left heel to start, right heel to come back through. You can hit shots like that. Then you start leaving this back leg down, start the swing lifting the left heel, put it back down. And then if you don't like lifting your heel at all, just get used to that feeling. You can see how the set of my heel and the knee comes out, but I'm not leaning. And then that's the one thing you're going to start to notice is the rotation will almost happen naturally. You won't have to think too much about it. Sometimes people do if they pick the club up. And then the other thing you're going to start to notice that weight shift, because sometimes people mix up moving the pressure, making the feet heavy with weight shift. They start to do this. See, if I start to move my weight back, the pressure actually moves forward. I move my weight forward through the shot. The pressure is moving. You're going to start to notice that you feel much more centered when you start to use the ground and your feet better. You'll feel much more like you're in one spot, but yet you'll feel like your feet are doing more work, that they're actually moving. When you get on camera, you probably look like you're not moving all that much.